And I want to welcome you to the Application Architecture Summit Expert Breakout Sessions. And this is a session for Appian. And let me welcome back Malcolm Ross, Vice President of Products. Malcolm, welcome back.
Thanks, Vance. Always a pleasure.
You know, we're really glad to have Malcolm with us this morning. He is truly an expert in the evolution of application software and architectures as we hit the frame of the digital transformation, digital business requirement. He drives Appian platform go-to-market features and some ways to make sure that it meets customer needs. And he is an expert in product management and in the now evolving low-code phase of software development and a frequent speaker. And in his session, he brings all that expertise together in using a low-code platform to drive digital transformation. We'll learn about how the evolution in today's digital transformation is requiring faster and more responsive agile app platform power, and how the Appian platform provides some quick ways to create fast, smart, and impactful business apps. And we'll even get a great drill-down demo into some of the newest features of the Appian platform. And just a quick reminder, you can download Malcolm's slides right now, along with a host of white papers and other downloads. No extra registration required. Just click any of the links under the viewing area. And we like to make this interactive where we can. So to connect with Malcolm, just type in the submit a question box. So now, Malcolm, let me turn it back to you and tell us about using a low-code platform to drive digital transformations.
Thanks, Vance. Yeah, a really exciting topic about a new evolution of platform technologies, meeting the demands of corporate IT today to really drive digital transformation across our business. Thanks again for that generous introduction. And the first thing to kind of kick off this presentation I'd like to talk about is this classic term or this classic phrase that's, I think, originally coined by Mark Andreessen almost a decade ago, that software is eating the world, that to succeed, every company must become a software company. And although maybe we thought about that with some skepticism when it was really originally uttered, it's now so apparent that software technology is not just transforming traditional internet businesses, the Googles, the Amazons of the world, but working its way down to, as we see, like taxi services with Uber and Lyft and other types of services which are traditionally more brick and mortar or manufacturing based, fundamentally being changed by the need to transform in a digital fashion their customer experience and how they interact across the entire operations of their business. So more than ever, the pressure is being placed on corporate IT, CIOs, to not only optimize their business using software, but transform their business using software. Think of new ways to engage with customers, new ways to operate their operations as well. But here's the sticking point, though. 2/3 of you, maybe on this call today, are going to fail at that digital transformation project for a lot of reasons. Maybe you're taking the mindset of the 1990s waterfall style approach to addressing digital transformation, or maybe you're relying on technology platforms that are really not designed for agile, fast development to meet business needs. Or finally, maybe you just can't recruit the necessary software talent. You're competing now against Microsoft, Google, top-tier software companies for that top-tier software development talent. Can you compete from a recruiting level to get that talent to transform your business just like they've transformed those businesses? So there's a new approach there. But before we step into that approach of how we can overcome these challenges, let's take a retrospective look at maybe a similar industry and why we need to rethink how we approach these IT technologies. Now, let's take a look at energy production. When I think of software today, I often do think of it as more a service, a commodity that needs to be delivered to businesses so that they can power their enterprise. And in a similar way, looking at how energy production evolved over previous years, before the Industrial Revolution, energy production, power, was really kind of something you did inside your own facility. If you were a business, you had your own little coal plant, or maybe a little dam with a hydraulic pump, or maybe some other way of generating heat and power to smelt ore or generate those small products that you're doing. Is very much a household or individual business hold area. Every single business and every single household was really responsible for generating their own personal energy for whatever needs they had. As we evolve that, we get into the Industrial Revolution. Now, this is interesting because we started to combine the concepts of mass production, of generating large factories, but we took that same concept of energy production and just applied it at a larger scale, but inside a larger factory. this generated pictures like this, where you see every single one of these factories, each one of those smokestacks was their own little coal power plant, powering all the Industrial Revolution era factory manufacturing devices inside their little facility. So again, it was the mentality that energy production still had to be delivered by the business themselves in order to actually meet their needs. If I was a manufacturer inside of here, I was trying to make buttons, for example, in the probably very typical London view here of manufacturing clothing or buttons for the populace. Now, looking at that, I probably have said, well, my primary job here is to make clothing and buttons. It's not to maintain the facilities of a coal-fired power plant. That's an entirely different specialty that requires a lot of my focus, that's maybe draining a lot of my efforts from just making buttons more effectively. I have to focus a lot of that time on just maintaining that coal power plant to make sure I can make buttons. Now, looking at the modern centralized energy production, most businesses today, like if you're in an office building today, you don't have a coal-fired power plant next door to your office. Maybe you have a backup generator, maybe you even have some solar panels, but primary energy is coming from a centralized energy production unit. We've realized, yes, we need some capability locally for energy production. Again, backup generators, solar power plants, secondary power units, but very, very few organizations say, yes, in order to build this building, I need to build a nuclear power plant next to my building. That's very rare because you realize that's a specialty skill. It's something that your business is not necessarily focused on as a primary focus, unless you're an energy production company. But you're relying on a service provider to provide that energy service so that you can focus your efforts on what's really important, which is your core business. If you're a hotel, selling hotel rooms. If you're a car manufacturer, manufacturing cars, that's where your effort is going to go into. Now, why do I bring this up is it's very similar in that transition. I would say when thinking about software and computing services, we're right in this transition with cloud computing and platform technology as a service, and thinking about where is your business's time best spent. Is it best spent maintaining your own power plant, or is it best spent developing the product that differentiates your business? So looking at today's IT, we're very much in this transition where over the past 30 years, we've been building our own power plants. We've been building our own data centers, building our own infrastructure, not because we wanted to, but because we had pressure on us as a business 10, 20 years ago to still digitally transform. And in order to do that back then, there was no concept of cloud computing 10, 20 years ago. There was no concept of a general provider of a platform that's going to give me the ability to innovate quickly in a digital sense, but not have to maintain the infrastructure for that. So what we have today is an attribute of that legacy of what we have from yesterday. Maintenance of existing systems. In our surveying and many other surveys from other analyst organizations say that 80% of IT resources are used just for maintenance of existing systems. That's a really bad number. When we think about digital transformation, in order to change the paradigm of your organization, this is the first thing we have to change. We need to change where we focus our time. Now, this is also impacting not just your business, but also your personal career. We've seen a trend, especially across the past 10 years, of IT outsourcing. Thinking about IT outsourcing, why is a CFO deciding to outsource maybe critical IT jobs to much lower cost areas of the world? It's because how do they view IT? And how do you view your own role as IT? Are you being the IT janitor or the IT innovator? When I say IT janitor, I don't mean to disparage the work that person's doing, but in reality, thinking about your last company filings to the SEC in a 10K or 10Q filing, did they ever declare with proudness in that last quarterly report that the Java 7 to Java 8 upgrade went well? Those aspects of maintaining IT systems, making their current secure, they're reliable, it's really just assumed work. It's kind of IT work that, again, your business is not going to declare that as a proud differentiator of their organization, of how their hotel room is better now that their corporate IT systems run on Java 8. But also, it's also that burden of your personal career, thinking about how can I invest in a direction in my own personal career that makes me an IT innovator, that gets the attention of the CFO, the CEO, that says, The work I'm doing is actually digitally transforming. The burden of the IT janitor kind of responsibility is something that's, I think, been placed upon workers in IT by the architectures they've chosen over the past several years. By investing in technologies that pass what we call technical debt and maintenance burden to customers, rather than taking that responsibility away from you and allowing to rapidly innovate and rapidly build solutions without having the burden of maintenance. So ultimately, what is a low-code platform? You think about a low-code platform as, well, yeah, there's less code. So what does that mean? It's a toy, it's a solution that just is visual drag and drop. And I think it's more than that. It's more than just the visual design paradigm. It's also the idea of reducing the maintenance burden that allows you to focus 80% of your time on innovation, 20% on maintenance. That's not just the visual design concept, but it's also like the Java 7, Java 8 upgrade that you don't have to worry about that. The platform's taking care of making sure it's current. As far as security and reliability, you don't have to worry about that. Of course, the entire platform is secure. Anything you're going to build inside the platform is going to be foundationally secure as well as elastic scalability. Yeah, you can build a solution and then scale it as high as you want. You don't need to go back and re-architect the solution. It's going to be able to drive those maintenance aspects for you. So again, your time is spent on innovation. Now, of course, you can't get rid of maintenance entirely. There's still the attributes of making sure you're designing good solutions, but we can dramatically reduce that burden and focus on IT organizations to deliver value to the business. So what is Appian all about? Appian is really what we call the platform for digital transformation. Ultimately, we want to make it easy for you to build and run enterprise-grade software. And that means delivering it faster, delivering it agile. Agile doesn't mean fast as well, but agile means that you can rapidly iterate upon it, that change management doesn't become a large burden, that you can very quickly change, and adapt to business needs. And again, more innovative. Innovative not only means, of course, delivering innovative solutions in the platform, but enabling our customers to deliver those quickly to mobile devices, IoT solutions, other types of solutions that are going to innovate your business as well. So where is Appian typically applied? If you're thinking of your spectrum of your current IT landscape, one of the primary use cases of Appian is using Appian to deliver applications up to 10 times faster. So you might have your ERP, your HCM, your business intelligence solutions, your CRM solutions, but maybe that next solution that you need to build custom, choosing a low-code platform like Appian, it's going to allow you to very quickly deliver that without those long development cycles. Another way that Appian's often applied is augmenting existing solutions. So maybe you have those legacy platforms that really aren't mobile enabled, they aren't process enabled with complex workflow. I need to go back and revisit those, use integration adapters included with Appian to very quickly extend the entire framework. And then finally, stitching those together. Appian also is designed to break down application silos. Often if I think about a customer experience, when I receive a customer order, then the customer has an issue with the order, it goes to an issue ticket management system that's maybe disconnected from the order management system. Then it needs to go to a customer feedback environment. Being able to connect all those existing applications together and wrap them in a seamless flow is also a core tenet of where we see low-code Appian platforms being used. And then, of course, we want to accelerate digital transformation. The three primary areas we see a lot of application low code is first customer journey, that stitching together, making sure that from step to step to step, we understand the exact customer journey flow and uniting all of our application silos and building new experiences to engage with those customers. To business operations, Appian is very commonly used in field service management, inspections management, being able to optimize and improve back office operations. And then also GRC compliance areas where I need to build maybe non-value add solutions to my core business growth, but things I have to do to remain in compliant with federal regulations. GRC is a great way to apply low code to very quickly not only build off a GRC solution that enforces rules and process procedures, but also allows you to adapt quickly as compliance regulations change. So ultimately, what Appian always is, in our mind, it's a Formula One race car. It's designed to be fast, but also very powerful and nimble, able to cut those edges. Now, what we mean by that in the fast terms, we're going to see that in a product demonstration. In the powerful terms, it's designed to be enterprise grade. Appian already runs mission-critical applications for the Department of Treasury, New York Federal Reserve. A number of key government, financial services, insurance organizations rely on Appian to run mission-critical applications. But it's also designed to be governed, to value to have a common governance layer that's going to unite all your data, security procedures into a single platform. Appian is pre-certified with a SOC 3 compliance, PCI, HIPAA compliance for healthcare regulations, FedRAMP compliance for the federal government with DoD certifications. It's pre-hardened, making sure the applications you build are going to inherit those security attributes. And then finally, designed to be reliable. Appian sells in a cloud-based architecture primarily. 85% of our customers choose cloud, but we also have an on-premise offering as well. Our cloud-based offering, though, of course, has a 99.99% availability, 15-minute RTO, that's your recovery time to objective if there's any disastrous recovery. And of course, as well, global data centers to operate in a number of regions. And then finally, don't take it from us, a quote from the latest Gartner reports: Appian projects are agile, time to the solutions fastest among all vendors. Its projects require fewer internal and external resources. But let's see how it's done. So I'm going to switch over to a product demonstration. When we introduce into the Appian product, we're first going to take a look at the end user experience before we jump into a design time experience. Appian has two primary end user experiences. The first one is something we call Tempo. Tempo allows us to unite applications and content in a single, easily navigable and intuitive environment. It's driven first by this activity stream where I can not only monitor what's going on, but also collaborate and share information. So if I need to come in and say, hey, there's some new documentation, messages, tasks, or congratulate other users in their work, I can, in a quick snapshot, see exactly what's going on, ask questions, and interact with my business. Now, these Tempo posts can either come from end users or even systems. So I can actually monitor things like SAP, Salesforce for key business events, and then collaborate on those business events inside my collaboration area. Appian also is a global task environment with a simple task list, as well as custom task views for specific roles or applications like service request management, order task management. I can go to my different task views to focus on different aspects of my operations. Records, though, are one of the most important features of Appian because it gives the user a framework of the key business objects of the business. Customers, investigations, orders, products. You can build your own record types inside Appian to represent any aspect of your business: stores, inspections, locations, regions, users as well, all the users across the system. Now, when I interact with this, I can say, well, I'm really interested in interacting with one of my current customers. So I'm going to go to my customer list, and here I can see I have Alcumbia Taxi Service. That's a customer number, and Sharon White is the account owner. Hovering over gives me all her contact information. As I go into this, I can see, well, here's everything about this customer. These dashboards are all built inside of a low-code design environment, so I can very quickly customize the look and feel of my business to show what's meaningful to the users. So from here, I can see most recent order, service request, what are the products I'd like to purchase the most, contact information. And of course, if I need to take action, I can see right here, maybe following this customer for specific updates or updating, creating a new order or new requests for this customer. Now, as I say new request, it's going to take me through a simple action form. I can go ahead and start say, well, I need help with this order. Which order do I need help with? And take me through an intelligent form experience that, again, is designed through that low-code UI, saying they have issue with this HP drum. Drum is broken. Jessica reads the requester, and there's their new service request submitted to the system. As I go ahead and view my details, orders, I can navigate multiple tabs to see different views of this overall business environment. And there's my new request right there. Now, of course, as I want to take a more aggregate look, I see things like my customer dashboard. You can build custom UIs and dashboards across the entire system. And then finally, actions I need to take, such as creating a new customer, maybe a new investigation, new order. I can just start those from scratch right here. These are the foundational elements of the Appian product, but let's go ahead and build something new. Let's say I have this current system in place, I'm monitoring my customers, but I need to create a new solution to capture customer feedback. Well, how am I going to do that? Appian has two design time experiences. The first one is the full low-code design experience. The second one is a true zero-code citizen development environment called Quick Apps Designer. Let's go ahead and jump to the Quick Apps Design Time experience. As I go over to this, I can see I have no quick apps right now. Let's go ahead and build my first one, which we said is going to be customer feedback. And that's going to be called, say, customer feedback. And the plural, I think it's one of those words where the plural and the singular are pretty much the same. Go ahead and continue. And now I define my application name. The next thing I need to say, well, what content do I want to capture? So I want to capture, say, the feedback title. And of course, they're going to have different stats of these. So requested, let's say it's submitted, reviewed, addressed. So maybe 3 basic statuses for feedback I want to capture for the individual cases. Priority looks good, low, medium, high, critical. Let's go ahead and say detailed description. I want to capture that. Of course, I want to see, well, which customer actually submitted this feedback. Now, since Appian is this connected environment, since we're going to unite all your legacy systems and existing systems, I can say, well, I want to attach to one of my existing records. Appian also ships with out-of-the-box connectors, so Salesforce, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics. I could go ahead and say, very quickly search those other environments, say, attach that customer record right here, which might be coming from, say, Salesforce. I can also say, well, they can provide feedback on the products as well. That's going to be another record. And let's say, again, associate it to my product record. Again, that might be coming from my product catalog in SAP. Now let's say I need to have a feedback type, and that's going to be a multiple selection. And of course, let's say, well, I can have, general feedback, negative experience, and say product feedback. And since it's a multi-select, they can select maybe multiples of those. That makes the most sense. And there we go. Let's say I want to have every feedback should be required. Looks good. Now let's go ahead and preview. Since it's a 0 code environment, it's just going to auto-generate the entire form for me. So there's my feedback title, detailed description. Hey, it looks like that detailed description is a single field. So let's go ahead and close this. Change that instead to a paragraph field so they have a little bit more space. That makes sense. Now they can contract and expand that to give them more description. Customer, product, and feedback type. Looks good. Hit close. Hit continue. Last step, we have some security upon this. So which user is going to have access? Myself, as well as maybe, hey, I need a few other collaborators. James Baker. I need my maybe customer service group. So the marketing staff maybe are going to have access to this, as well as Sarah needs to have access to this. And finally, every single application is going to be represented by maybe a custom icon. So let's say the heartbeat icon makes sense to capture the pulse of our customers. I have a last choice here that I can choose to either create this as a standalone application, or I can actually publish that to my overall Tempo experience. That's actually going to do both here. So while that's working, what that's going to do is go ahead and build actually an entire application for me. Now, as we see this publish, it's going to build that right inside my records environment, publishing all the CRUD actions for capturing customer feedback, viewing it, managing it, as well as reporting upon it, collaborating upon feedback, and assigning tasks in the context of those feedback items. Now we'll start to see that publish inside of here. A newsfeed post is going to pop up as soon as it's ready. And let's see, that's still working for me. So great, looks like our quick app has already been generated. So now that it's been created, I'm going to pop over to this and say, well, I want to start working on customer feedback. I'm ready, that's it, done. So I go into my customer feedback, the first thing it's going to prompt me, say, this is a great product. I'm going to choose the status, it's been submitted, priority, medium, love our products. The customer is maybe Dingar Dynamics. The product they love is maybe the Brother printer, the imaging drum, because they love imaging drums. It's general feedback, and it's also product feedback. And of course, I want to attach some maybe associated documentation. I go ahead and grab that right here. So go ahead and say upload that document. And then any other information I need to capture. As you see, that's going to scan for viruses for me automatically, making sure it's highly secure. And then go ahead and say, that's it, submit my customer feedback. I can go ahead and another, or start tracking all the customer feedback inside the system. As I go inside of here, I can see exactly the status, what's going on. Status has been submitted. I can choose to update, send a task, delete it. Of course, I can drill in. This is associated with Dingar Dynamics. Tell me more about Dingar. pop over to all my Salesforce information, bring that up, show it to me right here. I can see, well, yeah, they love that Brother printer, but they don't buy it. Actually, they buy HP products often. So I can drill into these details, find out more information about it, or maybe see some of their most recent orders. Again, carrying me through all the navigation I need for all the information I have. If I want to see more about that specific SKU, well, there it is right there as well. Now, a powerful feature as well is that also becomes added to my overall Tempo experience. Now, Tempo inside of here, as you can see, it's automatically available, customer feedback in my overall records navigation. I see the exact same content. So I have the choice of either using customer feedback as a standalone application, show me all my things just for customer feedback, or merge my overall environment, also showing collaborative events inside the system. Now, before I move on to a further design environment, let's take a look. This is actually also entirely available on mobile devices. Now, this is a native mobile application. I can see that exact same customer feedback application now fully available on my mobile device. It also enables offline capabilities for select forms, allows me to capture rich media as well. And a nice feature of the entire mobile experience is that as I do things like, maybe as I go to a customer, for example, I need to capture a new order inside of here. So let's go to my, say, specific customer, go to my related actions, and there is my new order form right there. And it's going to recognize intelligent things about the mobile device, like, hey, this is a mobile device. Instead of the general new order form, I see a barcode. It can be enabled there. So go ahead and hit the barcode scanner. And you see I'm actually looking at my screen. I'm going to switch over and go to a product record that has a barcode. And there it is. Recognized it. And there went ahead and added that barcode. So it's going to optimize it for mobile use. So that's great, have a customer feedback application. But now what happens if I need to kick it up a notch and say, take it to the next level with some more complex rules? So now I can go into the full design experience. When I go into the full low-code design experience, I can see the customer feedback application, but now I can see all the low-level design objects that were also built. I can see the processes, the rules, the data stores, everything I might want to modify. Let's go ahead and just take a look at one of the process models. If I need to extend this, it allows me to jump in now to this overall low-code design experience right inside the web browser, complete visual design, allowing me to say, start modeling out maybe some extra steps inside of here. So, before customer feedback actually gets submitted, I want to go ahead and have a review step. Now, as I go to that review step, of course, I need to do things like maybe have a form and data I need to capture, all point-and-click configuration. As I go to say, I want to create a new interface for this, feedback review, and that's going to be my CF rules and constants, and okay. Now I can go ahead and straight to my interface designer. Inside the interface designer now, I can go ahead and start building, say, an example form. So again, point and click driven design to start laying out that form. Now here I just loaded up one of my templates of a new purchase request, say new customer feedback. I can now start, again, manipulating this directly inside and also interacting with the design time environment right here. So as I refine that customer feedback environment, it's giving me a jump start of all the necessary components of a working application. I can then enhance with complex rules, process flows, interfaces, reports, and really embellish that very quickly, delivering a solution to my business users. So that was really an entire solution built in just a span of a few minutes here in this product demonstration. Of course, if you'd like to learn more, I encourage you to go over to Appian.com. Of course, if you'd like to talk to me, you can also reach me at malcolm.ross@appian.com as well. And finally, before I close out here, I'd like to also make you aware of a great event to learn more about Appian and digital transformation. The Appian World Transform event is on April 3rd through 5th in San Francisco at the Hyatt Regency. We're not only going to have a lot of product training associated with the Appian product, but also just independent training on agile methodology and how to digitally transform your business using modern technologies. So hope to see you there. And of course, with that, I'm going to pass it back to Vance if there's any questions.
Malcolm, great session, great overview in this hot low-code platform environment, and really appreciate the demo. I think putting real steps and real functionality in front of folks that can get a sense of how real low-code can be, so to speak, is really valuable. Thanks for a great session.
Thank you, Vance.
The first question, you probably get this a lot with the respect to some of the different types of persona or the different types of apps that people want to build. And let me just throw out the question this way, and maybe it'll kick off a conversation. And it reads, I've seen several low-code types of app platforms that speed up how to deliver tactical or long-tail app requests, but we're looking to explore technologies to help us build the big disruptive apps like Uber and Netflix. Can Appian help us do both types, and how do we do the more exciting disruptive apps?
Yeah, it's a good question. Low code platforms, really like Appian, are designed to not only do those long tail solutions like customer feedback, but as well, critical business leading solutions. Appian today is well known for taking over the past year and a half a lot of the back office processing for the Affordable Care Act, as well as the regulation of all the banks in the United States. So major operational solutions for governmental agencies with complex rules, complex process and behavior, all built inside the product. Now, of course, those types of solutions require that complexity, which can all be expressed inside that low-code design environment. When thinking about the Ubers of the world and those design time experiences, there's a lot of different ways to leverage a low-code platform. You might choose to, say, build the UI and use a low-code platform as a mobile backend as a service. So as you need to have process interactions, have different types of rules, you can build those in a low-code design environment, while then maybe overlaying a custom UI. Or again, maybe augmenting existing legacy systems. Low-code, again, is designed, as I talked about before, to either build the entire solution inside the low-code platform or have an augmenter to accelerate development of maybe another application that you want to combine what we will call a high control environment or a code-centric environment with low-code systems to augment and speed up the delivery.
Fantastic. Here's kind of the IT equivalent of that same sort of question, Malcolm, and it reads this way. You showed some impressive out-of-the-box features for the Appian platform. Can the speaker please describe some of the under-the-covers workings of Appian? Is it metadata-driven, data objects? I'm just curious how they bring all these elements together.
Yeah, a little bit of our secret sauce. I guess the first thing to understand about the Appian product is that it is an organically developed solution. It's not a product of a number of acquisitions of other technologies bolted together. It's entirely developed as one cohesive platform. It is also designed for a cloud-first architecture, so designed to be entirely delivered over the web, designed for scalability in the cloud scalability sense, as well as designed for that tenant architecture with tenant isolation to make sure there's no noisy neighbor effect of impacting customer experience. But as far as the under the cover, the actual execution, again, it's largely based on standards. We follow things like the BPMN standard for process modeling and execution, a lot of frameworks that are really low-code inspired, have been around with the OMG for a long time, are inherently embedded inside the Appian product to enable that rapid development mentality.
And just to give Appian its due, Malcolm, talk a little bit about how you get from the actual design that you like to launch and provision. It seemed like that was very seamless too. Is there a runtime aspect to Appian you can share?
Yeah, sure. Typically, our cloud customers use a development, test, and production environment. So just like any normal SDLC system. Now, you saw me cheat a little bit. I did create that in production. Typically, users would create any new solution inside a dev, migrate that to test, do any user acceptance testing, and then migrate that to production. The facilities inside the Appian product are designed to facilitate that rapid application import-export between systems. There's also a wide variety of automated testing inside the system, such as automated unit testing on rules. We can build those unit tests inside the Appian design time experience so that they're version controlled right alongside the actual object, making it much faster and simpler to not only build the tests as well as build the designs in a single platform.
That's a great point. Malcolm, given that the digital transformation requires touching and gathering resources that aren't all in one place, a couple of questions about Appian's ability to work with these far-flung resources, and one of them goes like this. The speaker mentioned a terrific list of apps and data sources that Appian can work with, Salesforce, SAP, etc. My question is, how do we use Appian to bring in data or deliver data to and from applications not on your list?
Yeah, so Appian also ships with a wide variety of out-of-the-box connectors, web services, JMS, FTP, and you can even extend the Appian product. So we use what we call smart services, how they're represented inside our low-code designer. But essentially, you can build in Java OSGI compliant plugins that can be snapped into the Appian product, and then essentially extend the rules designer, process designer, key components of the low-code design experience.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Here's a question that you probably get often too, Malcolm. I thought the Appian demo for building enterprise or employee apps was really fantastic, but we'd be interested in building such responsive apps for our customers or non-employees. Can the speaker talk a bit about how Appian helps us do that?
Yeah, again, as I mentioned before, Appian can supply needs for a wide variety of use cases like customer journey. And in that sense, for pure B2C facing applications, it depends. Low-code platforms are going to ask you to make some sacrifices, I would say, in the UI if you want to use our UI design environment. If you want to use a pixel perfect UI to really granularly define your brand, then you typically are going to combine a high control code environment with a low code platform. So you'll maybe create that mobile application that's very, very kind of suited for your specific brand. But the functions, the procedures that you want to call are going to call maybe processes and rules that you compose inside the low code system. So you need to think about the right balance, whether it's going to be purely delivered via low code or whether you want some hybrid of a low code with a high control environment. There's a robust web API to the Appian product, so you can build rules in our low code system or processes and then publish them as web APIs that you can call from your custom mobile apps or legacy systems.
Fantastic, fantastic. I see time is just about up, Malcolm, but just one more flavor of the low-code revolution I think we can squeeze in here. And the question says, we're trying to build more responsive apps, or what some folks call smart apps. Does Appian let us bring in analytics or even machine learning services to our applications?
Yeah, I guess you're getting a little bit to what we're about to show to Appian World. So I think I'd probably leave that off with a plug for Appian World. If you'd like to learn what Appian's up to in the context of machine learning and artificial intelligence, we're looking to announce that actually up here on April 3rd through 5th.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. Well, speaking of that, including the show in San Francisco in April, can you give our attendees a way that they can engage with Appian, either in a free trial or a sandbox way? So many no-code features, I'm sure they'd love to put them through their paces.
Yeah, absolutely. The best way to start engaging is just simply go to appian.com. There's, of course, a lot of material, videos about the Appian product. And when you'd like to engage in a free trial, if you go to our cloud site, there's a free trial registration form right there.
Fantastic, fantastic. Malcolm Ross, Vice President of Product at Appian. Thanks again for the big picture on this big trend in low-code platforms, and especially for the drill down with the hands-on demo. A really great session.
Thank you, Vance. Always a pleasure.
And as we love to do here at the Application Architecture Summit, Malcolm mentioned so many resources. Many of them are here in the breakout room right now. In those links, just click any that you'd like. You'll be able to get them without extra registration. There's also a slide of some other web-based resources that I think you'll find valuable. Thanks again, everyone.